Welcome to the Extraordinary Culture Podcast. Podcast for the culture that is music, movies, sports, food, and beer. The Extraordinary Culture.
Well, congratulations, Dan. It's been a while since we've recorded, and since then, you are officially a proud papa.
Oh yeah, proud papa. It's been cool. Yeah.
Has it?
How's the sleep coming is always the big question.
It's not that bad. Chris has been very supportive, so it's been working out really well. I try to help out when I can, but for the most part, she's been doing a lot of it. She's a superstar.
Yeah.
She just wants to eat, dude.
Yeah.
Eat, sleep, poop. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the life, man. What all of us want to do.
For the most part.
Now that we're older, it's like eat, sleep, pump, and poop. That's it.
Pretty much.
So basically, we want to be a bear?
Yep.
So we're almost back on our normal schedule. So Xavier and Dan are together. And then Rick and I, unfortunately, got COVID exposed. So in the interest of keeping Dan's baby safe, we opted to just stay at home. Yeah. But both of us are fine. No symptoms and negative tests and all, but out of an abundance of caution for the little one.
Yeah, especially with little ones, you don't know what to do.
Yeah. So, but everybody's been good other than that. I mean, this is the first time in a long time anybody's actually been like, oh, I'm kind of sick. And it's really only cold symptoms from what I understand. So that's good.
Doing okay. I mean, Alicia ended up getting sick, but she's powering through it. I mean, she's definitely not anywhere near well, but it could have been a lot worse. So
Scott, our other brother, just texted me right now. He's still tested negative. He tested again today.
No.
He's still negative, and that's kind of where I got exposed from the same round of stuff that he did. And I've been fine, and he's fine. So
yeah,
we'll go with it. You do what you do. I'm done with work now anyway, so I just didn't want. Rick and I were talking. Yeah, Rick and I were just talking before he came on. Like at the end of the year for us, this is the time you don't want to miss. But unfortunately, like towards the end, cases did go up. No one really sick, but a lot of people got sick, more than it's been in a long time. Like we had an outing. The school took an outing to Knott's, and a lot of kids came back from that Knott's trip sick, and so did some staff. We had kids that got sick that missed checkout day, like the last senior day there. They missed that because they were home sick with COVID.
Oh wow!
But luckily for them, they had tested. They were sick a day or two, and then were able to actually get a negative test before graduation. Which really, that was the important thing. And I was just kind of hoping, like, please just not for graduation.
Yeah, just
please
walk, please.
And then just not for Star Wars celebration, and then come home to figure out, hey, somebody you were celebrating with is sick. Oh, okay. So we'll just take it as it is. So yeah, I've been just kind of, like I said, I've been fine, but around the baby didn't want to do that, and then I was supposed to do some other stuff with some people, and I was like, yeah, just so you know this. So I think I'm not going to do that for a couple of days, just to stay safe. And they're like, yeah, okay. That makes sense. Yeah, and no one wants to get sick. That's what it is. No one even fears get deathly sick or anything. Just no one wants to be sick.
Yeah. And I'm masking up at work again right now for the next couple of days, just making sure, out of respect more than anything.
Yeah. Everybody else been good?
It's like sometimes I'm wearing a mask, sometimes I'm not. Just most of the time, just because of what I'm doing, I'm out in the heat, and it's like this mask is just bothering me. I'm going to take it off for a while. But it's like when I see other people around, I'm like, yeah, I'll put on a mask. Or if I walk into a business or like a doctor's office,
a big group of people, definitely at a doctor's office, or I had to take one of the kids to the dentist last week, masked up for the dentist. Like you want to do that out of respect for a medical office, or just honestly a big group of people, like a big group of people, indoors, because that seemed to be a little bit of a spreader. So that's fine. But like I said, no one I know a lot of people that have been sick, but no one really sick. Like I think anything other than like a cold type thing. But yeah, you don't want to pass it around. So they do the same thing if it was just a regular cold. I'm gonna take a couple of days off. I don't want to get anybody else sick. It sucks that I'm sick, so I don't want to pass it around.
So they're banning Elvis weddings in Vegas. The state of Elvis Presley.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah. The state of Elvis Presley said, like, you could have Elvis backgrounds and stuff like that, but we don't want you using Elvis. Presley or any of his imaging. So that's done. I guess it's a licensing thing. They like, it's like, we're done with it. Yeah, it was cool, but like, you're kind of disrespecting Elvis, so no more of it.
So it's gonna be Siegfried and Roy weddings now.
That would be cool. Probably. What's the other guy? Wayne Newton.
Tiger. Get a tiger.
Yeah.
Siegfried and Roy, man.
I did get a tiger right there.
Or who's that buff comedian that with the props?
Carrot Top.
Carrot Top.
He's what did I see him in recently? I saw him in something recently. What was he in? He looked bad.
He was on Rogan not too long ago.
That wasn't it. I promise you that wasn't it.
But he was just saying, like, you know how he owns prop comedy. Like, there's no other prop comics. Can you think of another one other than the guy with the puppets?
Gallagher's dead.
Yeah, Gallagher's gone.
I have no idea who else would be.
Bobby
Celery Head.
No, whatever. Okay, that's kind of
man. Bobby Hill.
We're gonna give you 10 minutes. Let's flip the round. So Dan, you got 10 minutes to talk about Star Wars Celebration.
What do you want to know?
Just your review of it.
Okay.
The good,
Did
the
it
bad,
smell
the
like
ugly.
body odor there?
The long one is going to be on the Disney Culture, which actually just dropped, but I'll give you the good, bad, and the ugly. So we went in 2015, and it was a little different than 2015, obviously because of post-COVID. But like vendors, I remember there being a lot more vendors in 2015, a lot more, and there were a lot, but a lot of it, like some of it was like the Hasbro stuff, the statues, all their licensed stuff that you could buy, Hallmark. Those kind of things, and then the other half was like vendors you could buy a space, just like anything else, like any other con we've been to. They're all the same shit, man. All the vintage toys, which are cool, but I'm not gonna buy those. So noticeably absent, of course, was like lightsabers. You could buy the ones that like are the legacy hilts and all that, the ones that they officially produce. Remember how we'd go to even WonderCon, and WonderCon sells a bunch of like, I wouldn't call them knockoffs, but they're just a different brand. They're
light swords.
Yeah. None of those because
it's
Disney ran this. Yeah, Disney owns it now, so it was like that wasn't going to happen. This is kind of cool, like to do panels and stuff. It's all like a reservation system. The days of like, how people wait overnight to do that.
Yeah,
absolutely not allowed. You cannot do that. So a week or two before, they had you could go online and say, I'm interested in going to these panels. Put me down for this one. And if like I entered and you were going, you could use my group code so we all get the same thing. So if my name got drawn, you guys get to go too. Yeah. Because my name got drawn, so I got drawn for 4. Mm-hmm. I put them in for all of them for the 3 of the 4 days because I knew I wasn't going to get to the first day for the first panel. And that was actually kind of cool. All the big panels were the first thing in the morning. They were all the 11 o'clock ones, and those were the ones that were drawn for the lottery. So I won one. I won the one for the Mandalorian, which was on Saturday. So Rob and I got to go to the Mandalorian panel on Saturday. And then if you didn't win, there was lineup, but you couldn't even get into the building until, I don't even know what time they opened the building, but you couldn't stay overnight. But it was open early. People lined up early in the morning. People were like, oh, I got here at 5:30, whatever. That's to get into a corral when the thing opened at 10 to then head over to the hall where they had the standby line. So as I understand it, they let in everybody that had a reservation and then the standby lines. So there was also in the arena, right? Because we've all been to the arena.
Yeah.
There was also on 2 different floors, a bunch of the rooms that they put together. You know how those conference rooms are? They put a bunch of them together. Right. Where they live streamed it into those 2 rooms.
Yeah.
So if you didn't get the main one.
Watching some of it.
Yeah.
So if you didn't make it into the arena, you could go into a conference room and watch it there.
Yes. Or you could just queue for that. They had queues for that too. So once it opened, you could line up and get in a queue for that so they could fill in those rooms. But the lottery system was set up for those 3 rooms. So you either got the arena or you got a guaranteed seating in one of the live streaming. So I actually got the arena instead of the live stream. So I was there with the entire cast of The Mandalorian. We're in the room. It was John Favreau, Dave Filoni, Pedro Pascal, Carl Weathers, Giancarlo Esposito, the 2 stuntmen that play the Mandalorian that do all the stunts, Katie Sackhoff, the chick that plays the armorer, Rosario Dawson showed up. The new girl who's going to play Sabine Wren from Rebels was there, like the entire freaking cast, dude. And they brought out a puppet of Grogu that actually moved inside.
That's awesome.
It was totally freaking cool. So they did that, and then if you were just in the hall on one end in Hall E, Hall D, excuse me, in Hall D, they had a big screen that showed what was going on in the arena, except the exclusives. Because I saw footage for The Mandalorian 3 and Ahsoka, but like the streaming room saw that, the convention room floor didn't see that. It cuts to just a graphic of Celebration, which was actually kind of cool. And it looks freaking amazing, dude. It looks amazing. The stuff that they're going to come out with. Mandalorian 3 looks amazing. And Ahsoka, this is all over the news already, but Rebels is going to connect into the Ahsoka series. Like you saw Sabine Wren and you saw Hera. Like, so it's going to freaking connect, which is going to be awesome, which means at some point you're going to see Thrawn.
And Bridger.
Thrawn and Ezra. Yeah. And then the place went absolutely freaking ape shit when they showed that stuff on the graphic. So that was cool. That's a cool way to do panels. And then once you get into the arena, you can stay if you want to, or if you leave, and you can just come and go as you please for the other panels, and as well as the ones on the other stages. There wasn't a huge, like, there wasn't a bunch of stuff that I was like, oh man, I want to see that. They had a bunch of stuff that was like, this is cool though. They had kids stuff. Like, let me show you how to, like, sword fight, or how to build small droids and all that kind of stuff. There was a whole area that was just for droid makers. So you can go and see them building stuff, and they show you how it works and all that kind of stuff. So that kind of stuff was cool. They had a podcast stage, which I never did any of those. So a lot of it didn't interest me, but there was some cool stuff, just depending upon what you were into. That part was cool. The big display was that TIE fighter. They had a huge TIE fighter on the floor, which was amazing, and a set from Hoth. Like, this is all. You remember how they had that company before that did the cantina, the bar last time we went? Yeah.
I was going to ask you, are these like like professional ones, or these like fan built ones?
They're fan built ones. Those are
because I know like ones. There's a contingency from Belgium that builds them, and I remember the guy was like
it was
talking
overseas.
About his juice, and it was like a can of beer.
Oh, it was like from overseas. I don't remember where, but that's who it was, and it was pretty cool. I mean, it's cool stuff to look at.
The photos you posted look pretty cool.
Yeah. They did. Autographs were ridiculously expensive, dude. And that's weird. Where were the autographs last time? Do you remember where they were at?
No, because I never wanted to do them, but I think they were, so I guess would be, so if,
were they on the convention floor?
Yeah, they're a convention floor, but they were like kind of hidden. Like, okay, so if, what's the street that runs, in front of, between the convention center and Disneyland? Catella,
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so of Catella's north, it'd be on the south end of the convention center.
Okay, so that's where it was, but it seemed like there was a lot of wasted space on the convention floor. A lot of wasted space on the convention floor. That's what it actually seemed like. I don't know why. It just seemed like they're just the way they use space. You could have put a lot more in there. There could have been a lot more vendors. There was a tattoo pavilion, which was kind of cool, but was it necessary, or couldn't that kind of been upstairs and more vendors put down there?
Did they have the automobiles again?
They did, only a few. I only saw.
Yeah, there's only about 20 of them that I know.
No, there wasn't even that many. There was, I think, 6 tops. 3 that I saw in person, and then I've seen video of another 3, and I don't even know where those were. I never saw them. But maybe they weren't there the entire time, but there was not a lot, not like it was before, where there was a whole like hall for that. There was not. We didn't have that this time. So I'm sure a lot of things were scaled back a little bit just because of, again, the post-COVID kind of era. I had a good time. So that was the lottery was for the panels. So was the store. The store was by reservation. If you didn't get a reservation, you could get a time on a reservation. It was a standby. So the second day we were there, Rob put in for it, and he got an 11:30 reservation for the store. And we had heard the first day the store was a mess. So on Friday he goes,
always is.
Yeah.
This is bad. Listen to this. He went with our other friend, or your other friend Melanie, and he FaceTimes me because you can only take one guest, and there was 3 of us. Well, I'll take her. We had gotten into a reservation for Star Tours panel, 35th anniversary of Star Tours. I'm like, I'd rather go to that. So I'll take her into the store. You can always FaceTime me. Okay. So he did. He's like, this looks like a Big Lots going out of business. That's how he described it.
No.
He said
So
the
it looks
employees
like
were
rocks
just
every day.
throwing out boxes of shirts. Like, here's a box, because people were just freaking rabid. Here's a box of shirts in this design. Throw it on the floor. Have at it. People grabbing shit. Like, it's ridiculous, dude. plus the line to check out. I think it took him an hour and a half to check out.
Oh wow, that's like what it took us last time when we went.
Danzig all over again.
Your poster, seriously, your poster. Cherish that bad boy because you have no idea what your brother went. You have no idea what your brother went through to get that, man. He about had a panic attack. Seriously, he and Melanie about had a panic attack to get that shit. So I'd asked him for like, look at these 2 or 3 shirts. I saw a Spirit jersey that I was like, dude, if you see it, figure out how much it is. He found it in my size and he's like, I don't have any clue how much it is. I gave him a number. I said, if it's under this, go for it. If it's more than that, leave it. And then at one point he called me. He's like, I'm just getting this. I'm already in line. Okay, I guess. So it turned out to be within my price range. But he was all freaking in a panic.
Yeah, that's what he did with me too. He was like, with that poster. I just wanted the poster, and he goes, they have the poster. I go, okay. I go, if it's under $30, go for it, And he's like, I don't think it'll be $30. I go, I don't either, but.
How much was it?
15.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, dude, nothing had prices on it either, like that first day. So he was all turned off by that. But that's how the store worked. And people waited 3 hours to get into that store.
Yeah. Quick, let me tell you about, because I went to Celebration in 2000 and the 30th anniversary of Star Wars, which was 15 years ago, when it was the first time that was in Los Angeles. And the store was so nice. It was empty. They gave you a bag when you walked in and he goes, I want this. Okay. You put it in your bag, put it in your bag, you put it in your bag. They had, all the exclusive T-shirts. They had, I don't know where it happened to it. It was a Ringer shirt with the 30th anniversary logo. I had a water bottle. I bought the magnets because, like, how the different badges for every day. Yeah. They have different badges for every day. So they had a magnet for each one of those. So I have those. And I believe I bought a poster too, and I got it signed by the artist.
Not quite the same this time, just because.
Yeah, it was so much nicer than when we went before, and it was horrible last time, but it sounds like it was better than this time.
Well, by Sunday, I had kind of wanted some shirts. I really kind of wanted the shirts, and I was talking to a friend of mine. We were texting back and forth when it was going on, and he was like, "Dude, he's off. You see that shirt? Do you mind?" I'm like, "Bro, this was the experience of day one. I don't even know if that's gonna happen." And he's like, "All right, man, that's cool." He's like, "I get that. I understand that." But I had kept trying. I tried Saturday, got nothing. But Sunday, I got one. I got a reservation for the store at 11. So we kind of like at 10 o'clock when they opened the doors. Honestly, Rob and I kind of snuck in the building. That's how it opened. Somebody came out of the building, left the door open. We snuck in and made sure we were got up there. When I walked into the store, which was on the second level of a different building that connects from the convention center, it's the way you enter. They have a walkway from one to the other. Not the same. We walked in. There was no one there. It was because it had barely opened. Everything was on racks. Everything was in order by size. They had it all. He was like, oh my God, it was so not like this when I came the other day. It started to get busier when we were, close to finishing shopping, but I got all the shirts that I wanted. I did pick up a magnet. I think I waited 15 minutes in line to check out. Like, it was really done much better. Now, they figured out what was going on. And honestly, I heard there was a staffing shortage because of the way the place that runs the convention, not the convention center, the convention, the way they handled it.
Oh, the showrunners.
The showrunners, yeah.
Yeah. Now, I was going to say, they didn't have, because I asked Robbie to get me a shirt, and he said, like, oh, they have it online. You want it? I'm like, oh, yeah, I want this one. And then he got it to me, and he got it to me by Easter, which surprised the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had, what did I have?
So, like, they didn't have everything wasn't available for a pre-order online? Or just
No.
Okay.
And in fact, there was still some stuff, and I don't know what, because there was nothing that I wanted, but there was still some stuff that hadn't come in. Like, Melanie had actually gotten a Funko reservation, because Funko and Loungefly did the same thing with the lottery system. You can get a reserved time to shop on any given day, or you can do the standby line, but the standby line regularly was 2-3 hours long. So she got one for that first day. So she had only wanted the Chewbacca pop. Rob wanted the Luke Skywalker one. And so I got the Darth Vader one and the Princess Leia one, which was all, because you can only, one per person, right? So we ended up with all the, like, regular pops. They had one of them that was, they do the little soda can. They have a little soda can pop. Yeah, the soda pops that was Luke Skywalker that they never got. And they never got a set of the 5 of them or 4 of them. I got them individually, but they had a 4-pack that they never got because of shipping delays. So we think that's what happened with the store too, that they just didn't get everything in time, which is why it was such a mess the first 2 days. By the next two, they had stuff. Because seriously, dude, it was like the racks you have in your garage, just cubbied, and just there's stacks of these shirts, and they're all arranged in order by size. It was really nice by then, but just, getting the stuff was an issue. So that's how that worked. And then that Mandalorian experience where they brought props from the seasons of Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett was the same thing. It was a reservation system that I managed to get one of those on Saturday, and we went through and waited maybe 30 minutes in line. And when we were there, it said it was at least a 2-hour wait, but people were regularly saying we waited like 3 hours for that. And it was freaking amazing, by the way. 3 hours worth? I don't know. I didn't wait any of that.
When they brought props out for at Celebration when we went 2015, they had the props out for The Force Awakens. They had props out for that, and there was a lot. Like if you went the first day, like there was no line. Yeah. And then when people found out what was in those rooms, it was like a huge line. I remember waiting about an hour and a half, which wasn't too bad and was really cool. And that's when we thought BB-8 was CGI, just because we're like, well, how do you make a droid like this?
Yeah,
in real life. And then they had the real one, but then you see the real one roll out on stage.
So for this, I actually like the way that they do that, because we paced it out and we knew what we were doing. There was obviously people who didn't know what they were doing, because so much of it was in the app and some of it was online, and you just had to know what was going on. There were signs around that told you what were going on. And in fact, when we were waiting for the Mandalorian, I saw a guy scanning the QR code. He's like, man, I've been trying for 3 hours. I can't get a reservation for this. And I was like, homie, you see that sign says they open at 8:30, right? Bro, they were gone at 8:30, because that's when I got mine. I actually happened to be on the site before 8:30, and it loaded and it said the queue opens in this amount of time. And although it said it was still random, no. If you were already in line, you had a much better chance of somebody logging in after 8:30. So that's how I got mine. We figured that out like day one, and then we're like just kind of used it and went for it. There was no way that there's so many people complain, this is the worst one ever, blah, blah, blah. Dude, it's 50,000 people. Everyone wants to do the same things. They didn't do a good job of separating some of the bigger stuff. You know what I mean? It could have had two concurrent big different panels going on or something to kind of break people away. And you really had to do your homework. If you thought you were going to go into this convention and do everything, you're sorely mistaken.
Oh,
that's not the way any convention works. You have to say, this is the one thing I want to do, and make sure that happens, and then everything else you just have to take with a grain of salt. Now, luckily for us, we were there for the 4 days, so the stuff like the Mandalorian experience, the store, we had different times that we could try it, because we knew the way that the system worked. The last day, we went into Rancho Obi-Wan's exhibit, which is Steve Sansweet, the guy that did the Star Wars Encyclopedia.
Yeah.
He had a bunch of his stuff there, showing off stuff for Boba Fett and the Mandalorians, I should say, because it was Bo-Katan, crazy. So it was cool. I enjoyed it thoroughly. The way you check in is a little bit different. It was obviously they checked the badge at security. You got to go through the metal detectors. Everybody had to get the COVID check, which was either you loaded vaccination status or you showed your negative test at the Marriott, had this wristband on for 4 days, and if you lost it, you had to go get another one. So everybody had to do that. So when you go through security, they're looking for your wristband and they're looking to see what color your badge is, so that they knew you were supposed to go in. The part that sucked is that the entrance to security, the main entrance to security, was where all the food trucks are. So that area was constantly clogged, dude. It was bad. Like, I really like staying at the Hilton though, because I went back to the room actually a couple of times. Like, let me get out. Like, I never ate at any of the food trucks because the line was just too ridiculous. Every time I ate at the hotel, I ate at the hotel 1 day. No, 2 days. I ate at the hotel 2 days. On the third day, we left before we ate lunch. And then dinner, we ate at Disneyland because we were at Disneyland for the Star Wars night thing. That's the other thing that I did, is I did the Star Wars night. So anything else about Celebration before I tell you real quick how Star Wars night worked?
No.
So it was pretty cool. In-depth breakdown. I went deeper into this stuff on the Disney Culture podcast. But the Star Wars night was actually pretty cool. It was expensive as hell because I bought that ticket in 2019 for $109. And then I got upcharged another $66 for.
What was the upcharge for?
Because it was a Friday night. I could have gone the 3rd and the 4th for the same price of that ticket, but because I wanted to go on the Friday night, 1, because it was the Friday night, 2, because it was during Celebration and I already had a hotel in Anaheim, I went for that. Now, I figured I already paid $109 3 years ago. What's 66 more now?
Yeah.
That doesn't mean nothing. I already paid for the other one. So I did it. It was freaking cool. It was pretty badass. All kinds of photo ops. Although this is kind of weird. They had a bunch of character meet and greets. And the thing with that is I've always heard at those After Dark nights that those are long lines, and they are. But I saw some of those characters passing by, and it's like, the celebration costumes, just cosplayers, look the same, if not better, than the costumes that they have here. So if I really wanted a photo with a Jawa, I would have taken it at the convention center with the tens of Jawas I saw. You know what I mean? Even I saw Ahsoka Tano. I saw plenty of ladies dressed up like Ahsoka Tano at Celebration that looked just as good as the one they had there in the park. So if I really wanted, I opted to skip on that. But they had those ones where you drop into, so it looks like you're in a scene. So they have that one with the Wampa that's upside down, and you look like you're reaching for the lightsaber, and then they flip the photo over. Those are cool. Yeah, I did those. The fireworks were Star Wars themed. The music was. Those were pretty cool. The castle, the Matterhorn, and Small World all had stars on them, and then every once in a while would go to Lightspeed, and then come out of Lightspeed. That was pretty cool. The photo ops, like I said, were super cool. The Cantina band played on the Rivers of America, on like where the Dixieland band is. Yeah,
that's cool.
I mean, it was obvious they weren't playing, but it looked cool. It was a cool visual, and they were having a good time with it. And then I did the lightsaber meetup in Galaxy's Edge. So I did take my lightsaber. So did Rob. The only time we carried him around was at Disneyland because we knew, okay, they're going to take a photo. They're going to have a meetup, and that'd be kind of cool to take part of. So we did it, and then I told Rob, I don't want to walk out with all these people. I don't want to push and shove anybody. Let's just wait a few minutes. Okay. So in the meantime, we see some cast members who say, here's the code. If you scan the code, you get all the photos we just took. Oh, okay. Scan the code in their app because they gave us all the photos for free that night. I got like 20 photos of the meetup. Am I in them? I don't know. There's a dot somewhere in there. But they said they had Rey and Chewbacca up on top by the docking bay, and saying whatever she said before we all lit the lightsabers up at the same time. And then we walked in front of the castle, and we had wanted to see some kind of parade of costumes or something. So we took a picture in front of the castle, and a cast member comes up to me and says, did you guys want to be in the picture? And Rob and I were like, sure. She said, okay, stand off to the side over here, and we'll add you in after they come over here. Okay. So we stood off to the side. Here comes the fire engine with Mickey and Minnie on it, and a bunch of people in costume and with lightsabers behind them all stood in front of the castle. We got in the photo too, and they took them. And then they said, here's the photos we just took. Okay, cool. Those I'm in. I could actually see myself in those photos. But it was cool. It was a money, but I would do it again. The photo ops were so cool. The ambiance and the vibe of everything was just so cool to see. I would totally do that again. It was a lot of money, but it was worth it. If you wanted to go on rides, at times where there was nothing. Yeah, they were super short. So it was a blast. It was all Star Wars all weekend. I had a blast. I would totally do it again, but I'm still paying for it. I'm still tired from going to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning and waking up like 6:30. Just doing what you do at cons. Try to find. You know what? The worst part is always trying to find breakfast. I'm not down to pay $10 for a chorizo burrito. I don't even really like chorizo. So Uber Eats it was. Uber Eats it was. Anything else?
No. So the new projects coming up are Ahsoka, Andor, and
Ahsoka, Andor, and then they have
season 3 of Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian. The Bad Batch season 2 is coming out. They announced the Indiana Jones movie. Harrison Ford was actually there on the first day.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever been at a convention before.
No, because he hates it. But he didn't even come out for Star Wars. He came out for Indiana Jones, and they introduced John Williams, who conducted a couple of songs, which they brought in an orchestra. Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau were all over the place, as was Tamura Morrison. Ashley Eckstein, too. She was all over the place. Actually,
she always is all over the place.
Yeah. I give her props. That's what I was telling Rob. I give her props because she does spend a lot of her time doing stuff for fans. I went back to the hotel one night, and there was lines outside their ballroom, and I was like, I just stopped someone like, dude, what's going on here? And he said, oh, Ashley Eckstein is signing for everybody. She didn't get a chance to do over here at the thing because she had to go to a panel or something. They booked it. The booking was terrible for autographs. It was bad. They forgot to schedule people's lunches. So yeah, it pushed everything back like an hour, and then you got into a time where it's like, I got to go moderate a panel, or I'm sitting on a panel. So they made it up. Some of it was at the Hilton, and then there was some other stars from like lower level Jedi and stuff who were given autographs there at the Hilton after hours. And then there was a whole ass sale on the second floor the second floor of the Hilton had freaking room sales. Random people were selling Star Wars shit, like, you know, their personal collections. Like, yeah, there's all kinds of stuff you just like. It's not officially part of the convention, but it's there. And you just have to kind of find out through Facebook groups and stuff.
I was going to say, when we went in 2015, I remember somebody telling me they had like a reservation for an autograph with Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill, and it took them 3 hours after their assigned time to get their autograph.
That's not uncommon. I heard that a lot. Actually, I have a friend who got a couple of autographs, and he said it took, like Giancarlo, it took 2 hours to get his autograph. And then part of it because they're chatting with people. But it takes a long time. That part of it to me is ridiculous. And it's expensive, dude. It's expensive. A photo with Ewan McGregor was like $300.
Whoa.
Oh yeah, dude. It was. I thought about it too because they're like, oh, these are the people signing, and I was waiting for the price drops. So Ashley Eckstein, I was talking about her. You go to WonderCon, $50. Like $50 for maybe a photo with her, another $50 for maybe her autograph, $150 for each, dude. 150 for each. And she's making. Okay, so this is what I told Rob about Ashley. She's everywhere. She went outside at one point by the fountain and took a photo with a bunch of Togrutas. And then she interrupted a couple of panels. Like, I don't know if you've seen it online. She walked into a panel with Hayden Christensen, walked up to him and said, "Hey, Sky Guy," and the internet lost it. Because that's what she called them on the series, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't Hayden, but that's what she called them in the series. So he got a kick out of it too. Like, she does her part. She goes out of her way for her fans. But you know, she makes money off of it. Because they stay loyal to her because like she's such a cool person. Mm-hmm. So like her universe line was like, yeah, it was
massively
huge. It was quite a line. Yeah. So she's a smart business lady, but she seems to be a very, very nice lady. She's the one that moderated the Star Tours panel.
Yeah, she when we went, she was moderating the was what all the cosplayers do, all their fancy stuff, the masquerade. At WonderCon.
Yeah, they didn't have any kind of. Rob asked me about that. They didn't have any kind of masquerade or anything. It was really weird, the stuff that they had. There's definitely stuff to be improved on, but you can have a blast just walking around. The thing that sucks is that, you know how for like WonderCon or something, you can just kind of, and Jose did this, when you just stand around outside and take photos with people, you cannot do that because you can't get past the security point, which are on the other side of the food trucks.
Well, Jose did that for that one year we saw him at Celebration.
Yeah, and that was not possible this year at all because security was not inside. Security was outside past the food trucks where that little roundabout is on convention. Yeah. That's where security is.
You know what I call cosplayers anyway? Posers.
But it was cool. I mean, I saw some interesting costumes. If you follow me on TikTok, you'll see a bunch of that shit, and I posted some of it on my Instagram account too. But it was cool, man. I had a good time. I would totally do it again. I only spent like in merchandise, most of it was t-shirts, maybe $200. I didn't really spend a lot. Not really. Rob spent more. And obviously the hotel room. We stayed at a Hilton, so we paid top dollar for our hotel, but it was worth it. It was worth it to be steps away from the convention center.
For sure.
But that's your 15-minute version.
That was a half hour.
Oh, was it really? No, it wasn't half. Oh, well.
So, Obi-Wan, I haven't seen the new episode yet. I don't think any of us have.
I watched it already. Yeah.
I saw it. I watched the midnight release.
I didn't realize it was on, or I would have watched it.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was Wednesday. I've been thrown off by the days because my weekend was crazy. So I don't even know what day it is. I left work early too. I didn't even go to work on Friday.
That's funny
at all. Which is
the only thing I stopped to do today was watch Obi-Wan.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. So that's funny because first of all, the Wi-Fi sucked in the hotel. The Wi-Fi was trash in the hotel because everybody at 9 p.m. on Thursday night was trying to watch that crap.
Yep.
And into the rest of the night, so the Wi-Fi was complete trash. But I just watched it through the data on my phone, and I thought it was pretty cool, man. And in fact, the next day when Rob was trying to get into that store and having his ordeal, because I couldn't go into the store, I sat down at a table, just a empty table there in the convention center, and I had another guy. He ended up sitting across from me, and we started talking. And then some other people came up, and we all started talking. And finally, it became, okay, did everybody see Kenobi? Everybody saw Kenobi. So we could start talking about, Kenobi.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised they didn't have an opportunity, like in one of the rooms, like, hey, it's coming in at 9 o'clock. Let's just show it.
So here's what happened. The first day, that Lucasfilm panel on that first day, if you made it in, because they talked about it, they gave you a wristband, and you could go back to the room that you were in and watch it at 6 p.m.
Oh shit.
So in fact, that guy that I was talking to, he said he wasn't at that panel. He just kind of hung around one of the streaming rooms, and they just started handing out wristbands at the end. Here, just come watch it, just to fill the room. And that's what I understand happened at the arena too. Diggs tried to do that at the arena and got turned away. And so did some people who were late, because as soon as it started, doors shut. If you were late, you weren't getting in.
Like
even
when
if you
Psycho
had a
came
wristband.
out.
Yeah. If you did not, even if you had a wristband, if you were late, you weren't getting in. So they did start it at 6 o'clock. They gave it to those people who were at that panel. And if you think about it, that's thousands of people.
Yeah.
Thousands upon thousands of people who saw it at 6 instead of 9. But they did, they did see it a little early. But no, officially, no. Just that. That's how they handled that. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good.
I thought it was great too. I mean, it was perfect bridge. It's one of those things now. You totally are. It's total clarity when it comes to why Ben Solo is named Ben Solo.
Yes.
You get that clarity in terms of that.
I never even thought about that.
Did you not?
No.
I put it in the chat.
Which is funny because I mean, in the old Legends universe, it was Ben Skywalker, but now they've given that bridge to that. That was really cool. I thought about that.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm like, okay, that's why they named him Ben. Because I didn't know that, we never knew that she had any contact, Leia had any contact with Kenobi before. We just thought, he was like a legend.
Okay, this is what came up in I'm in a coach group chat with some of the other softball dads and memes and shit. But we're all Star Wars fans, so one of them asked, "Does this erase Episode 4 what it says because, like, she knows who Ben is, she makes that connection? Like, how does she not remember who he is when they had this big adventure, years before?" And I said, well, wait a minute. There's a couple things to think about. In the little hologram, she said Obi-Wan Kenobi. And, years ago you helped my father, blah, blah, blah. When Luke went into the cell, he said, I'm here with Ben Kenobi. She jumped up. Ben Kenobi with excitement and knew who he was.
Mm-hmm.
There's your bridge. I said it's like having two people with the last name Hernandez. How many Hernandezes are there? You don't even think about it. They're not related. Why couldn't it have been something like that? And in fact, Owen didn't call him Obi-Wan. Owen called him Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, so there's no connection. The same way you just have two people with the same last name, they're not necessarily related. It could be that. Maybe there was. Even Luke said it in the first. He is looking for an Obi-Wan. Is he a relative of yours? There's just no, because it's just a name.
Yeah.
It's just a name. If the first name doesn't match, you don't think it's the same person. You don't know him by that. You know him by, something else. It's like, I actually, I likened it to, Dan? I likened it to Shorty. The first time I heard, he introduced himself when we met when we were kids, this is Shorty. But when somebody referred to him as Steven, who the fuck is Steven?
Yeah.
Oh, that's Shorty. Oh, I just never gave it a thought.
There's a little bit of ambiguity in that when it comes to Episode 3, as there's an interaction. And it's not a big interaction. It's not a big spoiler, but one of the people that's helping them actually refers to him as Obi-Wan as they're trying to make their way through, whatever it is. And Leia's there, but I don't know if Leia was actively involved in that conversation. She was not necessarily shown in the scene, but she's in that pursuit. So there's a little bit of ambiguity there, but it's enough that if she was pretty doing something like that, like she's prone to do.
I trust Dave Filoni.
Yeah,
he makes
I do too.
Very few mistakes.
I do too.
Very few mistakes. Well, that stuff. So that's good. I think it's really good. I expect to see it, end where maybe he goes deeper into hiding. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Where he truly becomes the hermit at the end of this.
There has to be a point where they think they've killed him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually what I was. That's what it was. I was talking to somebody, and that's what they said. There's got to be a point where we think he dies.
Because you hear Grand Moff Tarkin goes, surely he's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and even Vader doesn't pursue him after a while. Like, I guess Vader assumed that he died too.
The only person who it seems didn't believe that would have been Maul. Because Maul was still in pursuit of him in Rebels.
Yeah. I did see him, by the way, in person, actually. Kind of up close. Sam Witwer.
Ray Park?
I saw, no, Sam Witwer, the guy who does the voice and what he's talking about in Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
I saw him. We walked right by Matt Lanter, who does Anakin's voice. Rob was like, you know who that was? And I was like, no, that's Matt Lanter. I'm Matt Lanter. He's like, he does Anakin's voice. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Oh, that was Matt Lanter. Yeah, that's cool. So, I see people walking around.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't get, people knew who he was, but he didn't get bombarded.
You know, my other favorite piece about this, though, is one of those tie into episode 4 is when Vader first recognizes the presence of Obi-Wan on the Death Star.
Mm.
He says, "I sense a presence I've not felt since," and he doesn't finish the line.
Yeah.
So you can put in other interactions with Obi-Wan
because it's open-ended.
Yes.
Yeah. You always thought it was Mustafar, but it doesn't have to be because it's open-ended.
Yep.
Yeah. And I liked how Reva told him at the end of episode 2, he's still alive. And the look on his face was like, I left him for dead. Like that actually plays into the Obi-Wan Ben thing. Cause it's like, you knew Darth Vader was on the rise. You surely know that who Darth Vader is, just because you're a part of the universe, you've heard the name.
See, cause I've always heard that Darth Vader really wasn't well known. Except within like Imperial circles. So you might have heard this name, but you still don't know who the person is.
It's totally possible, but that just leads you to believe that when he fought Anakin on Mustafar, he knew him as Anakin.
Yeah.
He never referred to himself as Darth Vader because he didn't know about Darth Vader.
Yeah. What was I going with that? I lost my train of thought. Shoot.
I do that all the
time. Yeah, we know why though.
The idea that even within the circles, it wasn't well known that Anakin became Vader. It was, Anakin was suddenly gone. Most people thought Anakin was killed in Order 66, and then this dark apprentice, this person rises up as the right hand of the Emperor, and it's Darth Vader. There wasn't a whole lot of connection there. So Reva saying that kind of threw me for a loop. I felt like, wait a second, that's not common knowledge.
Yeah, she knows.
So my thought on that is, and I think it's kind of hinted at, if not stated outright, is she was someone at the Jedi Temple.
Yeah, that's actually speculated that she was one. You know how the first episode begins at the Jedi Temple with the younglings?
Yeah.
It's speculated she's one of those. That she was a Jedi that turned to the dark side, and that
all of the Inquisitors are at some point. They were fallen Jedi, people that were
age wise it works out because she would have been a youngling at that time, and it's 10 years after the fact. So it puts her at about the right age.
I hated her character in the beginning until then I started to learn about that plot hole, and I'm like, let's see where this goes.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't like her, but I understand that you're not supposed to like her. She's a bitch.
Yeah.
And see, that's exactly why I liked her.
I understand that. I understand why I didn't like her. It wasn't like, and we'll get into this in a little while, because that wasn't just because I just didn't like her, because oh, who's this lady doing this? It's like, okay, she's a villain. You're not supposed to like the villains. That she did her job. As an actress, she did her job well.
And see, on the opposite, I liked her for that. I liked that it was very much a dark Jedi or a Sith, someone who, it was the anger, it was the aggression she couldn't control, and that's where her power's coming from. That's what makes her frightening.
Speaking of characters like that, Tamura Morrison made a joke at the panel where somebody had said something about an autograph, or they were making a joke about signed autographs, and he's like, yeah, I signed it. I signed it Jango Fett, and then I signed it Boba Fett, and then I signed it Commander Cody, and then I signed it Captain Rex. And then she's all this long list of whatever. It was really funny, and people were cracking up at that because he's like half the freaking movie is him.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
There's scenes where he's every character on the screen.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and it's all voiceover of this, voiceover. It was pretty funny. He came out, dude. He did the haka, that tribal Maori dance.
The Maori,
yeah. And cheers from the people, which I guess is the wrong thing to do. Like you're supposed to actually stay silent during that. He didn't care. He was hamming it up and doing his thing, but he was over big with that crowd.
Have you ever seen those? Those are really impressive. They do. I know they like the New Zealand rugby team doing like rugby games and stuff like that, or like before a rugby game.
Yeah.
Hey, little girl, is your daddy home? Is he gone when you left you all alone? Got a bad desire. Oh, I'm on fire. Rock! Well, hey, little baby, is your daddy home? Is he gone when you left you all alone? Got a bad desire. Sometimes I so take a knife, baby, edge and don't get a sense of smell through the middle of my soul. At night I wake up with the streets soaking wet and the freeze and it's running straight through my head. But you cool my desire. Oh, I'm on fire. Well, said hey, little baby, is daddy home? Is he gone when he left you all alone? Got a bad desire.
Yeah, I know. I haven't seen any of these movies. Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, the Spider-Man that one.
No way.
It's a little older, but
No Way Home.
Oh wow. Wow.
How deep are you going?
Yeah, man.
you're talking about the
recorded it
February.
once, but we're gonna go back. I don't know. Like I don't even remember. I so.
oh, what
long.
about Doctor Strange?
that? I saw. Did you see Doctor Strange, Rick?
I saw Doctor Strange. It
Okay.
was the Sam Raimi. It was a
Evil
Sam
Dead.
Raimi movie, plain and
Evil
simple.
Dead. Yeah.
It was Evil Dead Marvel version.
There were straight scenes that were. I'm like, that's 100% out of Evil Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a point where he tries to pull. Well, at this point, you've seen it or you haven't. Professor X tries to pull out not Scarlet Witch, the actual. What's her name, man? Not the actress, the character.
Wanda Maximoff.
Wanda Maximoff.
yeah.
Where he tries to pull Wanda out of this crumbled stone, and all you see is this square and her head, and she's reaching out, and I'm like, that's a scene straight out of Evil Dead, the zombie from the basement. That's exactly what that is. It was pretty cool. It is it has some horror elements to it. It's definitely has a darker vibe than the rest of the Marvel movies, but it was good. So a lot of people were saying before I saw it, because I saw it like 2 weeks after it came out, people were like, it's okay, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what are you talking about? That was a really good movie.
I thought so too.
It had those horror elements that were like, this adds a little something to it, because the whole concept is kind of scary, and what Doctor Strange can become because of what he has to do and how powerful Wanda is.
Yeah.
That's scary. It's scary how powerful she is.
You got to remember, in the Marvel universe, as magicians go, Doctor Strange is probably the most powerful magician, only second to Doctor Doom.
Yeah, but this lends itself to, they call it the mystic arts versus witchcraft.
Okay.
And witchcraft is dark. So even Wong was like, that's witchcraft. Like that's not sorcery. That's witchcraft. And it's a total different take on the stuff. It's dark and it's meant to be. And Doctor Strange has to go there to defeat Scarlet Witch. And that's what makes it cool, and that's what makes it scary. Of what
Yeah.
what
Do
he
you
can
remember
do,
the Dark Horse Comics, Dark Empire,
Yeah,
where Luke actually had to become the Emperor's apprentice in order to defeat the Emperor.
that's what happens. That's what happens.
We're going back 20, 30 years with that reference, but that's what it felt like. Yeah. And Sam Raimi is a polarizing director. You either love him as a cultist, piece, or you're like, he's a whatever.
But don't forget, this is also the man who directed the first 3 Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
To critical and commercial acclaim.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he did the same thing.
Much.
Well, we don't talk about the. But
that was evil Peter Parker. I mean, sorry.
Yeah. But it's a good movie. It does what it's supposed to do, which is set up other stuff. It introduces new characters. It introduces America Chavez, who's another powerful character.
Yeah.
And it does what it's supposed to. I thought it was really good, and it's open ended because it leaves you with something like, this is what's going to happen now. And yes, Bruce Campbell and the car are in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have something else because I heard about this. I haven't seen the movie yet. The Illuminati, which is like the elite of the Marvel Universe, show up in this as Reed Richards in it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because it's Reed Richards, Professor X,
Uh-huh.
One of the Inhumans, I believe.
Yep.
Doctor Strange.
Black Bolt.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
And is that? Am I missing somebody?
Captain Marvel. No, Captain Carter.
Okay.
Captain Marvel and Captain Carter.
Yeah, Captain Marvel and Captain Carter. But this Illuminati takes place in a different universe, so it's not quite the same characters. You watched What If? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that Captain Carter is the one in the film.
Okay.
It's her. It's Peggy Carter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They give it the designation, so they actually do mention as they're traveling through these multiverses that the Earth Doctor Strange from is Earth 616, which it actually is in Marvel Comics itself. So they're in I can't remember what it was. Is it 838 or something like that?
Something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. So they're on Earth 838 in terms of the multiverse, and that's where this Illuminati is from.
Okay.
That's how they can bridge all these people together and get John Krasinski to be Reed Richards.
Yeah, and it's cool because it lends itself to, you've got the potential to use them in different movies in different capacities. So that's actually kind of cool because you basically introduced it into continuity is what you did.
Mm-hmm.
And they have their powers.
The only thing I was a little bit disappointed about was I was expecting to have Kang the Conqueror in there more.
Is that who the other guy was?
That was Mordo.
Okay.
They did the big reveal of Kang and Loki, and the intent, or I thought the theory was he was going to be one of the really big bads in terms of this new phase, but they haven't done much with him since.
No, but you never know where it's going
now.
Because, well, yeah, you've got that, and you've got, Moon Knight is going to eventually work its way into this, as is they debuting Ms. Marvel, not Captain Marvel, Ms. Marvel, which debuts next week. That's coming out too. And that's going to tie into this Phase 4 stuff too. So there's all kinds of stuff that's coming out and that connects into all this stuff, and all the TV shows, they do connect into this in some way. Leading into
my brother
Moon
was
Knight.
asking me, does Moon Knight connect with everything else? I go,
Yeah,
not directly, but eventually there's some connection to it.
yeah, it will.
And
it's
Moon Knight
supposed
has
to
always
connect
been a
into it.
little bit separate, though.
Yeah,
The entire Moon Knight story, I mean, he's been an adventure here and there, but for the most part, he's very off on the side of that stuff too. So the connections are hinting at is a couple of the characters in Moon Knight were wearing emblems that were emblematic of Kang as one of the Egyptian gods or the pharaohs or something like that. And I'm still waiting. Like I'm saying, I'm curious on that. It's still throwing me for a loop that there's not more apparent stuff, and it's probably
I trust
all going
Kevin
to tie in.
Feige like I trust Dave Filoni. So just let it play
It'll
out.
probably all fall together. I mean, I'm sure it will, but at this point, it's confusing as hell, and it's a little bit frustrating.
I did hear some guy. He was talking on the bus to Disney one of the 2 days I was there, talking to his girlfriend or whatever, and she was talking about watching the Star Wars movies, and he said, "Oh, I think the best way to watch him is to watch him in number order." Rob and I about threw him off the bus. We're like, that's not how you do this. You
I
don't
think
do it like
Xavier
that.
and I have had this argument before, where depending on the age, it can be adjusted. Like when I first started teaching, those pieces like that, I probably would have shown 1, 2, 3 first, because special effect wise and what kids are expecting movie wise,
Yeah.
they're a little bit more up to date in terms of that.
It's
They're
like
gonna
watching a black and white movie and a color one.
Yeah, they're gonna watch 4, 5, 6 and go, these are campy and corny as hell.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's the
I always
story.
tell everybody and goes, I watch them in the order that I originally saw them, which is release order, because
Yeah.
that's how I fell in love with the movies.
Well, that's what I was going to say about the Marvel ones. Is I think the only way to truly watch them is in release order, because all the after credit scenes always set up whatever was next.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of have to do that to get the full story. It falls in line in your mind chronologically. So I think you're fine. I think you're fine doing that. I still think you can do without Iron Man 3 and Thor: The Dark World, but that's a different story. Because those two movies.
Iron Man 3 or Iron Man 2?
Iron Man 3, no?
Iron Man 2 was the one with Whiplash.
What was the third one with?
Third one,
That's
The
the one where
second-
he's in the suit.
yeah, the second one was the one with the Mandarin too, the fake Mandarin.
That was alright. I think it was 3. I don't remember. It was one of those Iron Man movies. Isn't so good.
That's more than 2. That was the one where it was the rich guy trying to take over stuff more.
See, because I skipped the second
It
Thor
was
movie.
3.
You didn't miss much.
Yeah.
You didn't miss much. Ragnarok was a much better movie.
Oh yeah.
Oh, hands down.
Yeah, and Love and Thunder. Love and Thunder is coming out soon too.
My wife, who doesn't watch any of these movies, she's like, "That looks good." I'm like, I go, "The Thor movies were done well."
My wife will watch the Thor movies because we both have a crush on Chris Hemsworth.
well, she was like, "Oh, who's that girl?" And I go, "Natalie Portman." She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah, we know
Black
that.
Swan.
Was,
The Lakers TV show. Did you guys watch any of that? The winning season?
I've only watched the first episode. That's all I've had time to watch.
That's the only thing
I
I've
liked
been able
it.
to watch. So it
was fun.
It was fun. It was done well. You see how much kind of like of a douchebag Jerry Buss was.
Jerry Buss, yeah.
Yeah, he's like,
And
he's spending
apparently
nights in Playboy
really pissed
Mansion.
about that.
He's like messing around with a girl like in her restaurant, like, getting into a climax. I guess I could say.
Well, wasn't that his style? Though?
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like people, I thought like, oh, he's just like some old dude. Like I was like, oh man, he's like a womanizer, man. He's like always drunk and like hitting on chicks, playing poker. Like he was a big poker player, like losing lots of money. You see like how he's wheeling and dealing and like setting things up. I'm like, wow, this is kind of cool.
Isn't
And
he
it just
kinda
shows you, it's nice to see like how he took over, the Laker franchise and like how he built it into what we know, like the Showtime era. He got Magic Johnson in there. He brought the Laker girls in there, and he shows Paula Abdul like, doing all the sexy dancing and stuff like that. He goes, I want more like that. I don't want this like cheerleading crap. I want stuff like that. And like, it's what worked. It's what, fans came to see. Giving away tickets to celebrities so he could have them in the audience. Because you got to remember, we're Los Angeles. The celebrities are in the area. Bring them to the games and more people will come. I mean, it came to a point like in the 80s that you went to the Laker game to see who was there.
Yeah.
I mean, it was always Jack Nicholson. Lily Tomlin was a fan. What the hell's that guy? Phil Spector was in the audience, and Diane Cannon. You're always going to see those people there.
Dan Keaton.
Yeah, she was at the games too. Lou Adler, but who nobody knows who he is. Well, and we thought it was Jerry Buss for a while the first time we went.
Yeah.
But I thought it was done well. It just shows like the excessiveness of the 70s leading to the 80s and the Laker teams that I fell in love with. I mean, I became a Laker fan probably about 85, 86, and I've been a Laker fan ever since. I mean, I solidified it when they won back-to-back championships for me in 87, 88. And this is like the leading up to it. And I mean, the Lakers were a good team, but they weren't like the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics won every fucking year.
Mm-hmm.
Every year, like they dominated. Like I think Bill Russell won like 18 championships, like during the 60s and 70s, and like the Lakers won one, and then like after this, the Lakers and Celtics are tied for the most championships. So you just see how the team went from like nothing to like this great team. I mean, right now we're not doing well, or we didn't do well last season. So, but it's over, and fuck it, we're gonna do better. There's ebbs and flows all the time. I thought it was done well. I liked it. I recommend it to anybody who's a Laker fan or anybody who's a sports fan who just want to see what this team was and what it became and how fun the 70s and 80s were. You forget that stuff. I mean, like, it shows Magic Johnson as a womanizer, and like, look where it got him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it shows Kareem
Want to go there?
not really accepting his role as the captain. Like, Magic Johnson calls on, it's like, dude, they call you captain, but why don't you fucking act like the captain? You ain't doing shit to help this team. Like, why don't you lead the team? And he says like, oh, yeah, you're right. So, good show. Check it out. So you guys have seen a few concerts. One that I just couldn't get off. They wouldn't let me get off to go see.
And there was one I went to that Dan couldn't get off to go see.
Man, at least we did we lose that game? We lost that game, but the girls came in second place.
Oh, that's even worse.
They got a ring. They got a ring. They took second place
Okay.
for that. Yeah, so both my girls got a ring. They were happy.
Which actually kind of pissed me off because I was like, yeah, I'll get the ticket. I could not find anybody else to go. Like everybody and their brother. No, I can't
This is
go-
Bad
I
Religion.
can't go
so
this
just-
one time.
yeah.
Yeah, for Bad Religion, I could not find anybody else to go. But Dan, you went with me to when they played in Riverside. So imagine that same amount of intensity in a smaller venue. That was Bad Religion.
I'm telling you, man, it hurt me. It hurt me not to do that. I was like, nah, we'll never make it that far. We'll never make it that far. The damn girls kept winning. So I was like,
Why don't you pay them to
Yeah.
throw the game?
I can't. We threw enough games this season, man. I didn't like go that one. I was like, we better go all the damn way if we're gonna keep winning. And that was the championship game. We did lose that game, but both the girls played well, so I was happy about that. I had tried to like, is there any possible way this game's gonna be over so I can tell the one that I'm actually taking to the concert, hop in the freaking truck, you're going in your uniform. And it just, I saw the time that they were supposed to go on stage, and I was like, shit, the game's not going to be over. Because those games have to be like a set number of innings. It's not timed. It has to go a certain number of innings.
Gotcha.
So I was like, we're never going to freaking
make it official. Yeah.
Yeah, to make it official, we're never going to make it. So I had to sell Rick the tickets here. Unfortunately, he couldn't find anybody to go with them. But I told him, just go, dude. Like, you know what time they're playing. Like, even if you just go late, just go late.
And that's what I did. I ended up. I missed the opening band, and I went there just before they went on. And
Who was the opening band?
I don't even remember.
Slaughterhouse,
Chico and the Chicle Kids.
Yeah.
something like that. Slaughterhouse or something like that. I can't remember what it was. Something house. Dude, they played hard though. And you know, I'm sitting there. I'm being my old punk. I'm standing in the back, and I'm off to the side, over by one of the bars. Easiest way to get in. Everybody there was about 40 something in that area. Everybody was just chill. We all started chatting it up and just hanging out, and they played damn near everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything and everything you wanted to hear them play, they pretty much played.
I already forgot about that, Rick. You brought back painful memories of them. But no, like I said, the girls got rings, dude, so I'm happy.
Mm-hmm. Merch-wise, it was the same stuff that had been on the other tour, so I was like, I didn't have to go spend any more money, but that was nice. But
yeah, you went to that. I feel like I went to something else. Since we podcasted, I saw AFI at the
Danzig.
Palladium. Yeah, I know you're talking about Danzig, but I saw AFI at the Palladium too.
How was
That was a good show. Oh, dude, that was their first show back. That was the
I
first
got
show they
tickets
played
for,
in
for
however
the
long.
When We Were Young weekend at what time that area.
You did?
No, I didn't get tickets for When We Were Young. I got them to see
For
AFI
October. Yeah, I
around
got those too.
that When
Yeah.
We Were Young in time.
Is that still going on? I haven't heard much about that at all.
I haven't either.
Everybody was
It
talking about how sketchy it
suffice to look
sounded.
up.
Yeah, but it was good, man. They hadn't played in over 2 years, so they brought it. The crowd was super into it. The band was super into it. Incredible energy in the crowd. I feel like I've been to something else too, that I can't remember. But anyway, Danzig, because that's what Xavier wants to hear about. Well, Dan and I spent about 2 hours in a merch line.
Yeah.
That shit was ridiculous. But that's on Toyota Arena. That's not Danzig. That was on Toyota Arena. And that shit was ridiculous, dude. I mean, we hung out in the parking lot for a little bit, and then we walked in and said, oh, this is the merch line. Oh, something. Let's get in. Not knowing it's going to be all that long. I don't really care because I'm not really a fan, but we basically missed Cradle of Filth. So the only two bands we saw were Tiger Army and Danzig, because that line took so long. People were cutting all over the place. There was no set way that they were doing it. That's the venue. It was really bad on the venue where they were.
I was gonna say, was the merch even worth waiting 2 hours for?
I mean, yeah, I got a hat. It's really cool. I like my hat, and I got a Tiger Army shirt.
I got a hoodie and a shirt.
Yeah, I mean, people liked it. They bought it. It wasn't unreasonably priced. Like, remember we saw them at the Palladium, and there were shirts that were $70. This wasn't that. His shirts were like $30-$40, depending on what you want. And Danzig's the type who he fills up the front of a shirt. And the back. There's a lot of shit on the stuff, so it's like just the printing alone is like you're paying for all that printing.
Yeah,
on
his shirts are like 12 by 12 almost.
Yeah, but they're also kind of obscene.
Yeah.
So you have to watch out for that too.
Mm-hmm.
So the one that I wanted, they actually ran out of my size. So I got a hat, which I really like my hat. So I was cool with that. I'm like, fuck it, I'm buying something. I didn't wait for 2 hours to find if I can not get anything. So
I'm good.
Yeah, in a Tiger Army shirt. But like the band, Tiger Army was really good. We haven't seen Tiger Army in years, and I thought they were really good. Dan, what'd you think?
Yeah, I thought they were really good too.
Jeez, the last time I saw Tiger Army was when we saw him with the Quakes.
Wow.
Dang.
Halloween.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like 06, dude. 07.
No, that was 2008.
Okay, 08. Yeah, that's a long time ago. It's been a long time for us too, but it brought back the like, you know what? I would see Tiger Army again. I'm not impressed by the October Flame lineup though, at all.
Right.
So that's not like, no, I'll catch them on a different show. That lineup was not. I wasn't feeling those lineups. But they played really well and they were into it. And we haven't played in forever. Nick is a Danzig fan, like for sure. And they got a good reception from the crowd, which I was unsure about. I didn't know.
I was very curious to see how that was going to go down.
Yeah,
I agree.
how that was going to go. Our seats were pretty good. I bought them full on, like a straight view of the stage. I thought our seats were really good. My only complaint about Toyota is how tight the seats are for a bunch of heavyweights.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So those seats are tight, but we stood most of the time, like honestly. So it wasn't too big a deal. And then Alex joined us after a little while. He bought the extra ticket that we had, so he showed up at the show. He did 2 shows that day. He was at the Aquabat show too.
Yeah, he was asking me about that, and then he was asking me if I was going to Danzig, and I go, no, I'm not going to Danzig. He goes, man, I'm thinking about getting tickets, this and that. I go, have you talked to Dan and Dan?
Yeah.
And he's like, no. I go, knowing my brother, he has an extra ticket. He has an extra ticket.
Well, that's a whole
Yeah,
fucking
that was a
story
disaster.
in itself that I'll tell off air. But so that happened. He took it. I'm glad he did.
Yeah.
I'm super glad he took that ticket. But yeah, I was curious to see how Tiger Army was going to go over. Crowd was into him, but half the crowd was like psychos. Like there was a bunch of kids who like punk rock and like Tiger Army style music in the crowd because they're Danzig fans too. And then the metalheads seemed to like nobody was booing them. They were into it. So that was cool. It was actually really cool to see. And then Danzig was fucking incredible. I do not have the words for how good Danzig was, like at all. He was that good, which Alex actually told me. I wasn't going to come to this show, but they're playing Lucifuge. And because a few band members of bands he liked had recently died, including one of the guys from The Locust who committed suicide.
Yeah.
He was like, I feel like I have to see Danzig because he's going to die at some point. Yeah. I don't know how much longer he has.
It was an awesome show.
It was.
Have you seen Danzig before?
No, I've never seen him before.
Okay,
I had a desire to.
So the thing about Danzig is that I have seen Danzig before a couple of times.
Yeah, you saw him at the first Ozfest, right?
Yeah.
And you saw him before that too, right?
No, I saw him at the first Ozfest. I want to say I saw him somewhere else, and then I've seen him a couple times with the Misfits. So his voice is not what it used to be at all. It's not what it used to be. And Alex, who's seen many a Danzig show, has actually criticized Danzig many times to be like, dude, his voice is like, it's shot. You attribute that to age. Those guys can't hit those notes like they did when they were younger. He nailed this shit. It was so good, dude. On what is my favorite Danzig album, 2. Every track, straight through, plus some more. Some of the quote-unquote hits. And did he end with Mother, Dan? He ended with Mother, huh? No, did he end with Mother? Yeah. Amazing. He sounded amazing. The band sounded amazing. Yeah. None of those members are original, like classic lineup Danzig members.
Yeah.
But they've all been with him for quite a number of years. And it was incredible, dude. I didn't even think about this, but I recorded some of it and I put it on YouTube. And now I have 2 strikes on YouTube because I got caught putting the videos up and YouTube gave me strikes because Danzig said, gonna put my shit up on YouTube. And you don't. So I just put them in Google Drive. But no, you can't put his shit up on YouTube. But it was amazing. And everybody, I was going through like the day after and stuff and looking at stuff, watching a couple of videos from him. I'm like, I commented on a couple. Take this shit down, bro. Danzig's gonna find you. If you look again
you know
later,
what my boss told me when I said him I want to go see Danzig? He's all, you should have seen Danzig like 20 years ago. I'm all, I probably did see Danzig 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I want to see
He
him.
goes, you should have seen him then because like he's not the same. I go, yeah, I know. It's like seeing Morrissey. You don't want to see Morrissey now, but if you saw him like,
dude, we thought the same, but I just went because it was Lucifuge, and this was the only show where he played just Lucifuge.
yeah,
And it was incredible. Like everybody walked away was like, dude, that was amazing. Like it sounded like from the album. I just can't even get over it. Like how cool it actually freaking was. It was so freaking good. I don't know, Dan. What do you think? The first time you've seen him, I've seen him. I thought the same thing. Like his voice, not what it was on album, but I've always enjoyed it. But this one was like, oh my god, dude, that was actually really, really good.
So for me, for someone who's never seen him before, I thought it was good because I've always heard mixed things about him live from you, from other people. So I went into this with kind of an open mind.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I'm not going to be disappointed if it sucks because it's Danzig. I thought he was good at the Misfits show that we saw in L.A. So I was like, okay, he's piggybacking off of that, whatever. That's fine. And then when they played, I thought it was awesome. To me, it sounded just like the album.
It did.
So,
It was that good. It was that good.
I wasn't mad at it at all. So.
Nope. Had a great time with some longtime friends, and it was just, man, that was just a good night of freaking music. And they played a long time.
Fight at the end of the night.
Yep. And they played a long time. Like they played until the arena basically told them, you have to be off stage before this time, which was almost midnight. Like
Yeah.
I thought, oh man, this show's gonna be over like at 10 o'clock because it's Toyota Arena. No, he played until 11:45 when they told him that's as long as you can play. You got to get off the stage. He even said, he's like, you know what, man, fuck this like encore. We go out and like bullshit. Fuck it. Let's just play straight through. What do you guys say? Yeah, okay. So they played straight through, and then okay, good night, guys. We're leaving now because it's time. It's curfew time, and that's what he did. So
Yeah, because he knows they probably would have pulled the plug if he would have walked out.
Yeah. So he's fuck that bullshit. He said, let's just go for it. Cool. I have no complaints at all. Would totally do it again. And I got a hat.
It was really good. Would you do anything different next time?
Not get in line for a shirt or get there really early to get one.
Really, huh?
That's about it.
In your opinion, would you do the pit or would you go back to the seats?
Knowing how good it actually was with the hindsight being 2020, if you guys were down to actually do the pit area, I would have done the pit area.
Yeah.
What I told Armando was, because he asked me, the seats we got were what, $109, $109 a seat, which is a hefty price tag for bands that we're used to seeing. I knew the floor was going to be about $100 more, and that's what it was. It was about $100 more.
So it was like what, two?
It was like around two bills. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and okay, you saying that shows me I made the right choice, because the thing about that is, if I really wanted to see the band, I would have paid that. But I would have done that. I can't speak for you. And then the way Ticketmaster works is you don't know what the price is until you go in to buy them. And then it sucks because you're like, okay, you got 4 dudes who committed, myself and 3 others who committed. I said, I think it's going to be about this price. It was slightly more, but I figured you guys would be okay with it because it was only like maybe $30.
Seems like we all were.
Yeah, there. But to throw another $100 in that mix, and to get an answer, I need an answer in 10 minutes. You know what I mean? That wasn't going to happen. And then we still had one pull out.
Yeah.
So that's hard. That's hard to do, to get somebody to commit at that level because of the price of things when you don't know what it's going to be. But if I'd have known ahead of time, I would have done it if you guys would have wanted to.
Yeah.
I would have done it. But I was happy where we were. I liked the view. And I purposely picked stuff that was like, honestly, we were cheaper than on the sides because they were closer. They were closer to the stage, but they were angled. We were straight on. And I was like, I think I like that better than having to make sure that I'm turned a little bit.
Yeah, we would have to kind of sit like.
Yeah, like that. And I figured the straight on view was a little bit better.
We're already pushing those limits on those chairs.
Yeah,
those seats are suck. I mean, I'm like this sometimes.
Not anymore, sir.
No, you fit. I went to an Angel game a couple of weeks ago with my brother and the girls, and I had I can't even sit next to Rob on anything like that. I put them in. He sat on one end of the seats we had. Yeah, I told the girls, you sit in between us. And they're like, no, I can't sit next to my brother. We physically don't fit in the seats. I'm like, you two are smaller. You can sit there, and I'll sit on the end of one of you, and he'll sit on the other end. So that's what happened. But no, I can't. I got on Rise of the Resistance the other day with him, and I was pushing it in that seat. We were like this in the seat to try to do that, because I was like, that's what you get. I need to walk more like Xavier, but that's okay. It is what it is. Next topic. Unless you want to know anything about that Danzig, but dude, it was pretty cool.
else you got?
Rick saw the Mangzingers, right?
I did, but I think I'm going to talk more about Dan's hat and different experience. I actually saw New Kids on the Block.
That's right.
And not to lie, it was a pretty decent show. It was New Kids on the Block, it was Salt and Pepper, it was En Vogue, and it was the man himself, Rick Astley. And I was super excited to see Rick Astley, I'm not going to lie. Because I just finished up the Dave Grohl biography, and he talks about how an amazing musician Rick Astley actually is. But he didn't play any of the instruments. He only sang, which kind of bumped me out. But the way they set up the show was so... It wasn't like going to this Danzig show. It wasn't Cannibal Corpse, Tiger Army, Danzig. It was... The show started out with New Kids. They played for about 20 minutes. And then they stopped and they went and they did their quick change. And then Vogue came out and then Vogue performed for a little bit. And they did their stuff. And then Rick Astley was on. There was like a double stage. And Rick Astley came up on the other stage, a smaller stage. And he was doing some stuff there. And then they bust back into New Kids. And then they bust Salt and Pepper comes out later. And they're doing their thing. And then Rick Astley comes back out. And then Vogue does stuff. And then Vogue and Salt and Pepper work together. And then New Kids comes out and does stuff with En Vogue. And it's like, it was intense.
Is that why they were calling it mixtape? Because it was
Yes.
just constantly like being mixed up?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It was mixed up a little bit, and it's one of those things where they played a lot of the big hits. Everybody played their big hits. So it wasn't ever...
Rick
Rick Astley.
If you sit there and you listen to them, you're like, I know this song.
Yeah,
Like
I had heard that.
I couldn't
Someone
tell you
had said
necessarily the
that.
names off the top of my head, but you listen to them, you're like, oh my gosh, I know this song. And it didn't hurt that I took a page out of your playbook, Dan. And before I went into the arena, I had a couple of
My man.
And
Do it
was
right.
just sitting there in the zone enjoying
Enjoy
that
the
shit,
show.
man.
Enjoy the show.
Enjoyed the show. It was crazy. But
Yeah. You know
you guys
who
were
got
talking
Rick
about
rolled?
the line. This was at the Honda Center.
Yeah.
We were first off, we were angled. We had angled seats. Other than seeing the big screen, which was partially obstructed, it was actually pretty nice. And Honda Center seats are freaking comfortable as hell. They're big.
Yeah,
padded
it's
cushion
not the
seats,
Toyota
so
Arena seats, bro.
You
Yeah.
were all over that, and you're like, yes, thank you so much. So that made it nice. Then the lines, even though the line was insanely long for merch, it was like maybe a 20-minute wait. They were pumping through people so fast. Dan keeps talking about his hat. I almost bought a hat that just said NGGYU.
What's that?
Never gonna give you up.
Wow.
Almost bought it.
Oh, that's Rick Astley. Because okay,
How much
I
was it?
stepped out for a minute.
It was about $45.
Oh, shit.
The shirt's same thing, man. You know, Honda Center's taking the cut of that. There's
Sure.
part of that too. I mean,
Oh yeah.
but they're also a bigger band, so they're selling them for bigger money.
I
But
was gonna
wow,
say that's the professional hockey versus the
Minor league
farm
hockey.
league
the minor
kind
league
of
hockey, yeah.
farm league system. Yeah.
So no, that was a whole different experience, and I would probably do it again if it was that same
Except
style.
COVID.
Yeah, but like I was telling them, Dan, you missed out on this. It wasn't that traditional piece. It was New Kids came out first. They played for like 20 minutes, and then En Vogue came out and did a couple of songs. And Rick Astley was on a secondary stage, and he walked in. They lit him up, and he played a couple of tunes, and then they go back to New Kids and they do stuff, and they're constantly bouncing around like that. I think part of it is the mixtape thing. I think part of it is they're also old, and between costume, and
Can't do it all
between
in
costume
one shot.
changes and all
A
this
little
stuff,
bit at a time.
I need a break.
Yeah. little bursts of it, and then Jenny McCarthy was right there in the front row. Donnie Wahlberg kissed her a handful of times, and there was a proposal right there in the middle of the show. Like they stopped, and there was, I guess, a New Kids super fan that ended up contacting her, the fiance, the boyfriend, now fiance, ended up contacting the band, and they helped her propose to her. I thought that was pretty cool.
Wow.
So just hilarious. But like I said, I'd do it again.
You know who wants to do it again, or at least get another do-over? Christine. She apparently got rickrolled.
Wait,
What
what?
else you got?
Hey, so I'm not up with wrestling. So like, state of wrestling. Why did Cody Rhodes leave to WWE?
Probably paid him a bunch of money.
Why did Cody Rhodes leave? Again, money was the thing, and then he's got, like I said, a lot of legacy in his name that other guys don't have. And I'll connect this to what actually happened today. He has that. He's hosted a game show. He's reinvented himself to be like the corporate guy because now he's gonna, if nothing else, they're not gonna put this up on TV, but he started a wrestling company, and people know that he started a wrestling company, so he's got some pull. And then, like Rick said, I don't know if this caught air or not, but like he's got some options for documentaries and stuff they're gonna do with his dad because he has that name again. He's Cody Rhodes, so he's gonna roll with that. So today, I haven't seen this yet, but I watched the video online, but I haven't actually seen the broadcast because I get the delayed version and not the live one. Dynamite today, MJF, who's in AEW, I guess cut a fire promo today.
That's what I heard too. I haven't seen it yet though.
That he
Actually, we're watching it right now, but it's just like background.
Okay, so backstory real quick. I don't even know if you know this, Xavier. Their pay-per-view was this last weekend, and he showed the Fan Fest. There's been talk for weeks that he's not happy with his pay because he is legitimately like the number 2 draw in the company, like ratings wise and stuff.
Yeah.
He is the number 2 guy in the company, and he's not getting paid anywhere near what the top guys, not even top guys, what guys
Like
that
mid-carders.
that have come from WWE are making. They don't even come close to him in the ratings and stuff, and he's making nowhere near the money that they're making. So
Some of them aren't even on TV every week. So
yeah, he's been unhappy with that for a while, and it came to a head this weekend when he no-showed the Fan Fest, and there was even rumors that he's not going to show up at the pay-per-view. Well, he did. He showed up at the pay-per-view. He did the job like he was supposed to, which everybody knew he was going to do anyway, but he got squashed. I'm pretty sure he had something to do with that because he's a businessman. He knows what he's doing. He put over the other guy like he was supposed to, but played up, and he even got stretchered out. Yet today he comes out on live TV after being stretchered out on Sunday and cuts a fire promo saying, "You boss," talking to Tony Khan. This is what he said. He called him a fucking mark. It got bleeped, but I saw the actual version on Twitter. He called him a fucking mark. Called him all kinds of names and said, "None of these guys can lace my boots. Would you pay me more if I was an ex-WWE guy?" Because that's what this is about. And he's like, "I'm telling you what." He's all, "I don't want to be here anymore. I want you to fire me." Now, is it a work? Now it is. It's a work shoot. Like it was real. But they apparently came to some kind of agreement. Nobody knows what. But you don't let somebody go on live TV and start doing that. They cut off his mic. It was the pipe bomb. It was CM Punk's pipe bomb in a different fashion, but he was on fire with it. And it's true. To be honest with you, it's true. He may have gone about it the right way. You did sign a contract. You've got 2 years left on that contract. You got to make right on that contract. If they want to renegotiate with you, they can renegotiate with you, but you have no right to make demands because you signed a contract. So we'll see what happens with there. But for now, it's an angle. And it looks like they made some kind of amends. Speaking of contracts, did you hear about Sasha and Naomi?
I've heard that at this point
They walked out.
They walked out. I know that. Contracts have not necessarily been frozen, but they're suspended indefinitely, which may work out the time of their contract. But anything to do with those contracts right now, it's 100% legal. There's nothing going on in terms of the internal or just basic stuff. It's 100% the attorneys are working on this.
They walked out, X. They straight up were told this is what's going to happen on Monday. They had some issues with it. From what everybody is saying and what everybody kind of figures out, they're the tag team champions. They're the women's tag champions. They were going to go in a six-person match to determine the number one contender. One of them was going to win it. One of the tag team champions was going to win a match to determine the number one contender for a singles title. So already they're like, why would you do this? Then they're both going to go on to have matches against the two women's champions from the different brands, and they were both going to lose those matches. So they were like, what is the long-term plan for the tag team titles? Well, we don't have one. We're not going to have any kind of program for the tag team titles for at least a few more months. You're not going to have anything for the tag champs for at least a few more months. So they talked about it. They both walked into Johnny Ace's office, put the titles on the desk and said, we're out of here. We're walking out. And they've addressed it on TV as they walked out. Because they did, dude. They walked out. Like, it's not fake, it's real. They gave them the titles and said, we're going home, and they walked out. So we'll see what's actually going to happen there. But yeah, they straight walked out.
At least they didn't pull a Medusa.
Throw it in the trash. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, this is not the first time Sasha's done this.
Nope.
She has, in previous occasions, when she doesn't like the booking, resisted or shown that type of piece and walked off. So she wasn't seen for months after the 2019 WrestleMania?
Yep.
She wasn't seen for months after that. So, wondering how much of Sasha's pull it was given on Naomi, who's always seemed to be a pretty team player. Wrestling's a mess.
Yeah, it kind of is right now.
Most TV, I haven't watched TV at all, so I don't have a chance. So I'm like, so I just saw like Cody Rhodes is like showed up at was it WrestleMania? I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
He started his own company. Now he's back at WWE.
I haven't even finished the AEW pay-per-view from this weekend.
It was long. It was like 5.5 hours long.
Yeah, my stream works just fine. I just haven't had the time to sit there.
Not mine. Mine was
Listen.
trash.
Well, I did it illegally, and it's fine.
Yeah.
But it's
Here I
that
am.
that anarchy match was nuts, dude.
That was
Yeah.
insane. That was
Yeah,
such
it
a fun
it was
match.
pretty nuts.
The anarchy in the arena match was insane.
And you got that old school vibe because for a good chunk of the match, I wouldn't say the majority, but a good chunk of the match, you had Wild Thing playing. You had the X version of Wild Thing playing for probably about 10-15 minutes. I mean, it was a long match, so at least let's say 10 minutes. So 2-3 rounds through the song. So you got that Sandman vibe or the New Jack vibe, where they'd come out and the song would keep playing.
Actually, Jericho said it was New Jack.
Yeah.
Jericho said it was New Jack. That was freaking cool. Yeah, Rancid played out Ruby Soho to their song. Did you see the little thing that said when they introduced them? It said, legendary punk band with over 4 million plus records sold.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
That's
no,
what
I
it
didn't
said
see
in the
that.
little thing. Yeah,
Fucking awesome.
it said, yeah, I was like, dude, first of all, they called them a legendary punk band.
Yeah.
And then said, with over 4 million albums sold. I was like, that's freaking cool. So they played her out to the ring. And they played the whole song, which was cool.
They did. Yeah, they did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was actually pretty cool.
I just got a little.
Even Justin Roberts' introduction was fun.
Yeah,
I got a little
Shit's
bonus
shit's
with
about to hit
Rancid,
the
though.
fan.
Yeah.
That T-shirt was like $200 for that one T-shirt that I showed you guys.
That's insane.
Hey, Mark's willing to pay, bro.
Yeah, and then like he had the record. He had the first Lars had the first Bastards album autographed, and he wanted $200 for him. Like, it's cool, but I can't justify $200 for that record I already have.
No. But somebody will, and that's the point. Somebody's going to. Well, the same way I can't justify $300 for a photo with you and McGregor. Like, I just wasn't going to happen, bro. I was like, it's just a photo. Like, at least I got shirts. I can wear them over and over. Frame it if I want to, because it's cool as hell. Do I have it here?
I'll tell you what I did justify at the Comic-Con. It was $40, but it was worth it, man. I met Keith Coogan, the kid from...
it's $40, bro. It's like, yeah.
Okay,
Dishes
but
are
I
done,
get,
man. I know who
for
you're
a
talking about.
dish that says the dishes are done, man, signed by him.
That's
It
a
was
nerdy
great.
purchase.
Plus another item. You know, another 2 items were autographed, and then he sat there for like 5 minutes taking pictures. And, no, we're gonna do this pose. We're gonna do this pose, and it was hilarious.
It gives him something.
Did he have a big line?
Times he did. It depended on the time. When we got there, it was just one person in front of him, in front of us. But my other buddy, one of my coworkers, was there, and he said no. He goes, there was at least 5-6 people deep, but there was constantly people coming up to him and talking to him.
It's a good little payday.
It
for
is.
him. Because like I'm sure like the difference is at there he probably paid a fee to be there, and then he's making that money.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, why would Virgil do it?
Mm-hmm.
But at Celebration, I'm sure they got a fee for being there, which was probably quite nice.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're charging whatever they want. I sincerely doubt Ashley Eckstein is charging $150 for an autograph.
No.
But the place is, and she's making money to just to be there for her time.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is probably quite substantial. I would imagine.
Because you got to remember,
of
like
the
at the like these lesser known people, they make their money at conventions. The Soup Nazi,
Mm-hmm.
he's been at every fucking convention I've ever been to.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's all he does is a soup Nazi. He wears the chef's coat. He writes "No soup for you" and like.
Oh man,
Dante's girlfriend from Clerks.
Mm-hmm.
She's always at the convention. She gives him a hug, goes, "Hey, how you doing? Good to see you." She
But
hasn't
you
done
got-
shit since Clerks.
You got to be at the right price point for that.
Yeah,
Because Homeboy with the plate for $40, yes, okay, yeah, that's a little novelty for $40.
Mm-hmm.
I got Ziggler's autograph, right, for like $40, Dolph Ziggler's autograph, and a picture for like 30 or something. Okay, that's fair. You get in that $100 range, man. Not gonna pull it
I
off.
got Danzig's autograph for free.
The soup, yeah, the soup Nazi's not gonna do that. The soup Nazi is definitely not gonna. He's not gonna make $100. People aren't gonna walk up to the soup Nazi for $100 and be like, "Let me get your autograph." But $30, $40, Homeboy will probably make
But
that.
you piecemeal it. Yeah, $30 an autograph, $40 for a photo. You put those pieces together, it adds up.
Yeah,
They hit me with Claudia Wells like that.
yeah. I think I paid $50 for Dolph, for a picture with Dolph and his autograph for Dolph Ziggler. So yeah. The funny thing about that is, like, you know, we're talking about all this big bucks for the autographs and stuff for that celebration. When those people were on the stage, like for the Mandalorian panel, the people that were in front, there were several people that actually got their badge signed or something else by Pedro Pascal. He just signed it right there. Didn't charge him nothing, dude.
Yep.
Homeboy walked in, I saved $300, you know, for doing that, because his signing was whatever it was, but it was not cheap. I didn't even entertain it once I saw the prices. As long as you have a good time, dude. That's all that matters, and it's worth it what you want to pay for.
What
it.
you want to pay for it.
Yeah, if you're willing to pay for it, then you know.
I
Okay.
wanted an autograph that said, "Dear Rick, I love you, 555 Jennifer Parker."
Yeah, that's pretty funny actually.
Yeah. Is that gonna do it?
I think that's gonna do it.
All right. Thank
We
you
made
as
it.
always.
Quarterly podcast.
Thank you as always to our sponsors, Crown and Stash, Made Riverside, and Orange Circle Optometry. You can listen to episodes of Extraordinary Culture Podcast on Odyssey, Podomatic, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, YouTube, and you can even ask your smart home devices to play Extraordinary Culture Podcast. Check us out on Instagram as EXO Culture, on Facebook as EXO Cult, Twitter as EXO Cultcast, and TikTok as EXO Cast. See you next time.
Bye.